Russia is preparing to escalate fighting near Kursk Oblast, according to Yevhen Dykyi, a veteran of the Russia-Ukraine war and former Aidar Battalion company commander. He discussed the expected increase in hostilities with Radio NV. Russia's objectives likely extend beyond just 1% of Luhansk Oblast, and a serious threat to Lyman has emerged, which would be highly concerning. Losing cities that were once occupied and then liberated in 2022 would be a painful setback. It appears that Russia is specifically targeting Lyman. Their ability to secure positions on the eastern bank of the Zherebets River is troubling. With a force ratio of 1 to 10, holding them back will be extremely difficult. Ukraine's command must urgently reinforce its troops, but this raises the question, from where? There are no reserves in the rear. The frontline situation has significantly improved in recent months, largely due to better command structures and ongoing reforms under Major General Mikhailo Drapati, who leads Ukraine's land forces and the Khortytsia military district. However, mobilization efforts in the rear have not kept pace. This leaves a dilemma for Ukraine's top military leadership, including Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky and Drapati. They are fully aware of these challenges, but face the critical question of where to find reserves to reinforce another vulnerable sector. Pokrovsk was Russia's biggest advance in the past year, with a 47-kilometer push at the cost of tens of thousands of troops, equivalent to several full-strength European armies. However, Ukraine has now halted that advance. While Russian invaders remain near Pokrovsk and can observe it, they will not take it. Ukraine has had to deploy significant forces to hold Pokrovsk, but that may leave other areas exposed. Russia is probing for weaknesses, and the Lyman axis appears among the most vulnerable. Ultimately, Ukraine's military command will have to make difficult decisions on how to plug this gap. Meanwhile, mobilization efforts remain stagnant, with no major new initiatives to address the shortage of personnel.
Asked whether a meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia could be possible during Trump's planned trip there, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that Putin doesn't have any such plans yet. According to Associated Press, he said that there is no clear understanding yet of the date and venue of a possible meeting between Putin and Trump, adding that we are continuing contacts with the Americans on various levels and various channels. Asked about the claim that Kirill Dmitriev, President Vladimir Putin's envoy for international cooperation, could visit Washington, Peskov said it's possible. Dmitriev, the head of Russia's sovereign wealth fund, took part in talks with U.S. officials in Riyadh. Commenting on the U.S. response to Moscow's complaints about Ukraine's purported violations of a halt on strikes against energy facilities, Peskov said there hasn't been any U.S. reaction yet. The Russian side is continuing to stick to this moratorium. While Kyiv's violation of the moratorium, or effectively, Kyiv's failure to join the moratorium is continuing, he said. Asked about Trump's threat to impose new sanctions against Russia's oil sector, Peskov responded that, "We will continue our work with the Americans, we will patiently explain to them the real state of things and Kyiv's reluctance to do anything for peace." President Putin remains open to peace talks. President Putin remains open to a search for political and diplomatic methods of the Ukrainian settlement, he said. And the fact that Russia has joined the moratorium, the temporary moratorium on strikes against energy infrastructure facilities upon agreement with the U.S. side, is the clearest testimony to that. At the same time, we are witnessing an absolute unwillingness of the Kiev regime to follow that path, Peskov said. The Kiev regime isn't observing the temporary moratorium, it's continuing to launch daily strikes against our energy infrastructure.
Это чисто планы главы американского государства, это никак не связано с Путиным. У Путина пока таких планов нет, пока четкого понимания о дать вместе возможной встречи Путина и Трампа тоже нет, какой-то конкретики на этот счет я вам дать не могу. Мы продолжаем контакты на различных уровнях, по различным каналам с американцами. Российская сторона продолжает придерживаться этого моратория. Нарушение Киевом этого моратория, точнее, по сути, неприсоединение Киева к этому мораторию продолжается. Как уже было отмечено, мы это положение дел доводим до сведения американцев. Все, что было по линии МИДа, вам лучше обратиться в Министерство иностранных дел, но пока каких-то реакций на такое поведение киевского режима не было. Президент Путин остается открытым к мирным переговорам. Президент Путин остается открытым к поискам украинского урегулирования политико-дипломатическими методами. И то, что Россия по договоренностью с американской стороной заявила о том, что она присоединяется к мораторию, к временному мораторию на удары по объектам энергоинфраструктуры, это как раз является самым красноречивым свидетельством тому. Вместе с тем мы наблюдаем абсолютное нежелание киевского режима идти такой же дорогой. Киевский режим не соблюдает временный мораторий. Он продолжает ежедневно наносить удары по нашей энергетической инфраструктуре. Мы продолжим нашу работу с американцами, будем доводить до них терпеливо реальное положение дел и нежелание Киева что-то делать для мира.
A top European Union official warned the US on Tuesday that the world's biggest trade bloc holds a lot of cards when it comes to dealing with the Trump administration's new tariffs and has a good plan to retaliate if forced to. According to Associated Press, US President Donald Trump has promised to roll out taxes on imports from other countries on Wednesday. He says they will free the US from reliance on foreign goods. He's vowed to impose reciprocal tariffs to match the duties that other countries charge on US products, dubbing April 2nd Liberation Day. Europe has not started this confrontation. We do not necessarily want to retaliate, but if it is necessary, we have a strong plan to retaliate and we will use it, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen told EU lawmakers. The Commission, the EU's executive branch, negotiates trade deals on behalf of the bloc's 27 member countries and manages trade disputes on their behalf. Europe holds a lot of cards, from trade to technology to the size of our market. But this strength is also built on our readiness to take firm countermeasures if necessary. All instruments are on the table, von der Leyen said, at a European Parliament session in Strasbourg, France. The Commission already intends to impose duties on U.S. goods worth some $28 billion in mid-April in response to Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs. The EU duties will target steel and aluminum products, but also textiles, home appliances and farm goods. A lot remains unknown about how Trump's levies will actually be implemented, notably the reciprocal tariffs, and the EU wants to assess their impact before taking retaliatory action. So many Europeans feel utterly disheartened by the announcement from the United States, von der Leyen said. This is the largest and most prosperous trade relationship worldwide. We would all be better off if we could find a constructive solution.